DIY or Die, Walker Vapor Group LLC, or any of its associates do not condone nor encourage the use of nicotine, vapor products, or any mood-altering substances without the explicit consent of a physician. The content viewable on this channel is strictly for entertainment purposes only and not meant to be seen as informational or educational. Must be 21 years or older to view these materials.
Silky beef. Mixers, welcome back to another glorious episode of the MIXINVIXENS. My name is Emily, also known as mlNikon, and let's say hello to our other vixen, shall we? Over here, we have Jennifer, the TheJuiceFairy.
What's up, everybody?
Hello, hello. How are you?
Good. It's
good. And right down here, we've got Rin. How are you, Rin?
Hi.
Hi. How are you?
Sore. I went bowling for the first time since like May.
Oh, that'll do it. Yeah.
Well, the lanes were sticky and yeah, I fell on my knees pretty hard.
Ouch.
Ironically enough, everything else hurts but my knees. So I don't know how that works, but
that just means you're old.
Yeah,
and
well.
Last but not least, we'll keep talking about this later, but last but not least, we've got Lumi. Hi, Lumi.
Hi. Hello.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm Lumi.
You're Lumi. So, Rin, does that mean like your league has started up again?
We had our meeting yesterday, but we bowled beforehand because we figured we have to go anyway, so we might as well bowl. So it'll start next week.
Okay.
And we suck really bad.
Yeah.
Well, at least you're playing.
Yeah.
I don't even bowl.
I miss bowling. Bowling.
I have really bad carpal tunnel. There is no way if I cannot open up a jar of jelly that I can hold a bowling ball. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can't even tie my shoes sometimes.
Bowling up here is weird. The ball is smaller and there's less pins. Like it's not the same.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, it's still fun. You still go out and you socialize with your friends and you throw a heavy ball towards something to knock down, but it's just not the same.
My carpal tunnel has been acting up so bad that for the first time ever, I've actually seriously considered surgery. And you know what? Mods are heavy when you have carpal tunnel. This action, I mean, even just pushing my button. So I've been using a pod a lot this week because of it.
Have you tried one of those finger?
When are we going to change our names to the senior Vixens?
Oh, there's no way I could do that, Rin. There's no way. Did they say that works for carpal tunnel?
I mean, it helps me because like I'm on the computer all day and then I'm playing video games and I'm not doing that. So like I have to do this. Otherwise, like my fingers hurt really bad. I don't know if it'll help maybe your wrist, but
no, because carpal tunnel is pretty much these three fingers are what's affected, and it's this right here. It is just swelling there. So what helps me actually is I put my hand like this and then we wrap it at night to sleep in, because one of the things you don't want to do is bend your wrist. And you know, a lot of times when you're on a pillow, you bend your wrist, so then you're cutting off that circulation. So wearing a brace right here, keeping your wrist up while you sleep, the next day I do feel a lot of relief from that, but it's like very temporary. So at this point, I guess I'm getting to that age where I've got to consider getting it cut off.
You just getting your whole hand just cut off.
No.
Chop it
My
off.
husband wouldn't be happy, you know, if I couldn't move my wrist at all, if I didn't have a hand, you know.
Fuck this appendage. I don't need it.
Just chop it off.
I usually get a
man.
shot. I get a shot twice a year, and I haven't got it because of COVID. I try not to go in doctor's offices. I wasn't vaccinated for the longest time, so I've just been avoiding people, working from home, staying in the house, not going anywhere, and it's still what I'm doing, even so.
So guys, it's we're not doing recipe this week. It's just chit chat. So end of the summer chit chat. And if you have any questions, hit us up. If not, do you guys have any topics or anything you want us to talk about? What's been going on?
I don't have an exact topic other than what have you been vaping lately? Is it still single flavor testing some tobaccos this weekend? But other than that,
Oh yeah, because you're on Noted tomorrow.
yes, thank God I remembered that, or that you guys reminded me last week. Otherwise, that would have been like,
Yeah. I completely had forgotten that last Monday was in fact Monday. And I had like gotten into my PJs and like settled in for the night. And then you message and you're like, oh crap, I was supposed to be on tonight, but James just told me, so I'm not prepared. I didn't test anything. I'm like, oh crap, it's Monday. I guess I need to get redressed.
yeah, and you're a main guest. I can see
I know, right?
being as just an every once in a blue moon person. I still shouldn't. I should have had it on my calendar, but I didn't have anything that told me I was supposed to be on there.
Are you on Discord? Because normally
I am. I have
guests.
so much social media that I cannot keep up with everything. That's why I barely go on Twitter anymore. I mean, Facebook Messenger is probably the best way. I don't check
Discord. Does
Discord.
a pretty good job of like the week before, and he'll invite our guests into like our private Noted Discord.
Somebody needs to tag me when they do that.
He didn't do that for some reason. So yeah. Oh well, but you're gonna be on tomorrow night when talking about tobaccos, which is awesome because I will not be talking about tobacco.
You should.
F5577s, whatever. They're all disgusting to me.
I wasn't here yesterday, and I did place a last minute order on Wednesday in hopes that it would get here yesterday. So I don't know. I haven't checked the mailbox. I'll have to check and see if it's out there so I can mix it tonight so I can have it for tomorrow night, because I'm sure it won't be good. Just non-steeped.
Yeah. Addie Tooney wants to know from Jennifer Winstead, how long have you been painting? And would you paint a picture of Lumi with mushrooms?
Well, I can't paint realistic things, but I can paint her some mushrooms and write her name.
Do what I do. Just make a bunch of stick figures.
Just do stick figures. And I've been painting a long time. I've on and off for a long, long time. So, I mean, ever since I was a little kid, like 5. But I can't do anything realistic. All my stuff is florals and leaves and just abstract.
I like your style. I think it's really pretty. I like your paintings.
I mean, it's cartoonish in a way. I mean,
yeah, I like it though. Like all the ones behind you were yours.
Look at this mushroom thingy I got going on right there.
Yeah, it's cool.
That's cute. Just fantasy stuff.
Is that one of your newest ones? The mushroom?
Yeah. My daughter asked me to make her some mushrooms, and then she just said, "Mom, you always let your extra gene kick in, and you put too many colors in that." She wanted it for her house. I think she wanted more neutral stuff. And sometimes when I paint something, like this one was something I did that's supposed to be a little bit more muted, and she was like, "Oh, you made the leaves too big." So my kids are a mess. Whenever they ask me for anything, they're like, "No, this is what I want." And then they're like, "And don't go extra on it. I just want it normal."
Do any of your kids have tattoos?
No.
Good.
No, I'm the only one with tattoos in this house. Actually, that's a lie. My oldest daughter, my stepdaughter, has a full sleeve. her back. I mean, she's got everything, but she doesn't complain about any of my art. She likes all the extra shit.
Okay, so Darcy asks, how long have you ladies been mixing, and how did you learn how to mix when you started?
Oh, I'm gonna let you guys go for that one, and Rin, you go before me. I think you and I have a similar story. I remember Emily when she started mixing.
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. I started in 2016, and I started from Fresh's videos. I learned from like watching Fresh. I learned from people like Jennifer and Ren on Facebook, and like JJ in the Facebook groups, and New Amsterdam Vapes. You guys remember him? He had a couple of really good beginner mixing videos that I learned from. And when I started mixing, I like kicked myself for not starting sooner because I was so intimidated. And I had only started because a friend of mine who vaped also was like, I think I want to start mixing. And I'm like, oh, I'll do it with you. Because I thought, okay, then I got someone. Well, what happened was he kind of never really picked it up, and I just ran with it. And I'm the type of person, when I get interested in something, I just dive deep, and I watch all the videos and I read all the articles. And I was on the subreddit, reading every single article for like the first good couple years at least. But mostly it was, Jennifer Winstead and JJ and Ren on Facebook helping me limp along until I figured stuff out.
I mean, you did good right away. Except you didn't like to steep at all back then.
Oh, no one does in the beginning. I didn't understand the value of steeping.
I remember arguing with you about it.
So I'm just a beginner over here.
No,
we're not saying, but I mean, if A,
but you're,
B equals
but
C.
you got to figure when Emily started mixing, it was TFA and Capella.
Yeah, exactly.
A little bit of FA.
Yeah.
OSDIY.
Everything needed to steep, basically. Nowadays, there's so many good shake and vape type flavors that, you might be able to get away better without it, but still, it's important. You should do it.
When did you start mixing, Lumi?
I don't remember how long ago it was. I just
What brought you
know
into the mixing world?
2019, wasn't it?
I don't remember. I just remember, much like making coils, it was basically me wanting to save money and not buy a bunch of commercial stuff. And I stumbled upon a show with Fresh and Brian. And I was like, oh my gosh, this guy with the Yoda hat. It's amazing. It's amazing. And then I'm me. I like to meet people, and eventually Fresh came into like the little Zoom that I was in. And I was like, oh, you. And I was just like, hey, can you help me get this stuff so I can make myself a blueberry custard? And Fresh just starts dipping around his room, putting all this stuff together. I thought he was just ignoring me, like this bitch asking me to DIY how to DIY when I'm not on a show. The next thing you know, he's got a care package ready for me, and I sent it out, and he's like, hey, I'm looking for an apprentice. And I was like, I don't know if I can be your apprentice, man. I was afraid I was going to be holding him back.
Well, he did a good job at training you. He trained you up from a little kitten.
Oh.
All right, Ren, tell us your story. How long have you been mixing, and how did you first learn to mix?
It's been about 10 years. Essentially, everyone knows I'm picky as hell, and I got sick of getting commercial juices that I just thought were terrible. And I was on ECF from like the beginning. That's how I got all the info on, vaping and everything, because that's pretty much all that was out back then was ECF. And I kind of stumbled into the DIY section. I'm like, I wonder if I could do this. And it just kind of went from there.
Do you still remember the first few Facebook groups? What was the first Facebook group you joined?
I didn't really join any.
You didn't?
Mm-mm.
I'm visual, so I did. I have a
Nope.
similar story to yours. Well, do you remember what the first liquid you mixed was?
The first one I remember is I tried to do a sundae, an ice cream sundae. I'm like, oh, it's easy, just chocolate, ice cream, cherry, whatever. It was terrible.
Our next question.
Yeah, it was
We'll get
awful.
no further detail.
I started on the ECF days as well, where everything you had to read it, everything they posted a lot of pictures of stuff. There was a lot of Europeans on ECF, people that were overseas that were doing what they were doing over there. That was pretty much the only source that there was the e-cigarette forum is what ECF stands for anybody who doesn't know, because it's still around. It's not.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's still around. You can still find things that are happening now on ECF. And I even remember when ELR was not even a thing. ELR spinned off of ECF. Lars was on ECF and he moved on to ELR. And out of ECF, I think also Vaping Underground also came out of ECF. I think he either came off of ECF or he came from ELR. It was one or the other. I don't remember. I don't remember the details, but I also remember I was also one of the founding members of the DIY e-juice recipe group. Back when Arnie and Jim McLeod created the group, I was the first female. I was the first one to join them as a admin there and help. And we were three very different personalities. But it kind of worked because Arnie was the person with all the ideas and all the recipe ideas, but a lot of his stuff was theory crafting. And then Jim McLeod was a very free-spirited person who was very kind and very inclusive of everybody from every nation and didn't want any kind of discord or anybody to disagree or put anybody down or ban anybody or anything like that. So it was a very open group for a long time. Well, I even remember the only thing we weren't allowed to talk to was nicotine any greater than 48 milligrams for a while there. And so, I mean, that's how long I've been mixing. 48 milligrams was the standard, not 100. It went to 100. It didn't take long. It took like a year and a half to go to 100. Everybody was like, 100 ain't gonna kill you. And from there, I created my own group because there's, I was more of a teacher. I mean, I just had that personality. So I created the DIY e-juice flavor addicts group, just because all we were about was a bunch of flavors. Like me and the little group that followed me along, we were just trying all these new flavors and companies from overseas and stuff like that. So that's where e-juice flavor addicts, because we were addicted to buying flavors back then. And that's my humble beginning. And it was about 2010. So about 11 years ago now.
Oh.
And
Cool.
I don't know. I've gotten I used to be kind of a stickler for, oh, you have to steep this recipe. Oh, don't steal my recipe. Stupid stuff like that used to divide people. And now I just don't give a shit. I got to the point where I don't care. You want to take my recipe and go make $1 million? Have at it. If it's good, it's good. I'm not creating a business, so what do I care what the hell you do with my recipe?
Yeah.
But that's just me, and I'm gotten old and soft, so I don't care. Have fun. I'm here for the fun. I'm not here for a business.
Cool. That was a good question. I always like hearing people's stories and how they got into it and stuff. So kind of speaking of like early in our mixing career, Eddie has another good question. He says, first of all, could Rin describe just how bad chicken and waffles is in a vape? And then he wants to know what our worst mixes were. So Rin, you go first and describe chicken and waffles, because that does not sound pleasant.
Well, I did not single flavor test it, but from what I gathered, it tasted like raw chicken that was soaking in grease. It was not pleasant.
That does not sound good.
No.
Like, there are some vapes where I'm like, oh, this could use like a little bit of like a greasy note, to like a where there be a funnel cake or something, but like raw chicken soaking in grease does not sound good.
It wasn't.
And yeah, raw chicken definitely has a different flavor than cooked chicken, like it's
I tasted Flavor West. It was a Flavor West. God, the hell was the name of it? But it had an apple on it. God, I don't remember the pig sap is what it was called. Okay, and the picture had some brown stuff that looked like caramel and a picture and an apple. And so I was like, oh, it's some sort of apple, something another. I opened up the bottle, I sniffed it, it didn't smell right. I was like, let me just try it. And back then, I mean, we're talking 2010, 2011, maybe 2012. Who knows? I was still MTLing. I mixed that shit at 10%. It was, you would think, okay, so bacon grease without the bacon part, just the ham grease. Oh, there you go. When you cook a pork roast and that grease that sits at the bottom of the pork roast, that's what it tastes like. It was disgusting. It was so disgusting. I had to throw the entire tank away because it would not leave. It was disgusting. Worst flavor ever. Worst mix was me trying to make a cherry soda. That didn't work. I was trying to use TFA, maraschino cherries, and FA cola. That does not work. No matter what you do to that. It's gross, bubbly, floral, disgusting, medicine-y at 10%, guys. That's just.
Yeah, that's. All right, so speaking of, it's probably too high for it. Like maybe it might be decent.
No, I can never vape that ever again. I don't care if it's a nano drop with a toothpick and then add it to PG and VG. It just, maraschino cherries from TFA is not happening in my life.
Yeah,
ever.
TFA maraschino cherries, gross. Yeah, you're right. That's, yeah. So
I don't care if it's a toothpick into a whole bottle.
It'll
120
ruin
of
whatever
VG.
you put in it. Yeah, I agree. It's nasty. So okay, my worst mix is probably also my first mix. When I first started, for some reason, I got it in my head that in order to mix vape juice, it needed to be 20%. Like that was the number. That was the magic number that your mix needed to add up to 20%. So probably
That was the magic number.
At the time, yeah, when it was just TFA, Capella, Flavor West.
And MTLs. It was also devices.
That was a very common number. Now, however, I wanted to do an apple cheesecake. I'm like, I'm gonna mix an apple cheesecake because it sounds good and whatever. But all I had was TFA cheesecake and TFA apple, just regular TFA apple, and I mixed them both at 10%. And oh my god, TFA cheesecake is the worst, is a really disgusting flavor, especially at 10%. It was nothing but slightly sweet vomit.
I think that's where I became everything became verified from me having in my brain that it had to go to 18, anywhere between 15 to 20%. So since I knew these flavors were way too strong at higher percentages, I would just add several flavors to get my number up to that 15.
Something else onto it. Sure.
Yeah.
That sounds like it would make sense.
But then I found some real good magic in mixing certain flavors together. You know what I mean? Without even knowing it,
You
because
made
I
it
was
work
using
for you for sure.
all those enhancers. I was able to create something that was just different than anybody else was making, and everybody hated mixing my mixes because they were so long. They were longer than you guys, I mean, than the 7 or 8 that you guys count now. So,
And back then, like, I bought flavors. I mean, a lot of people do this when they're first starting out, is not knowing what's what. I just bought flavors based on what sounded good. And I'm like, oh, cheesecake, that sounds good. And I'll grab this one. This is, from the Flavor Apprentice or whatever. Like it.
and it's the cheapest one, so let me get this one.
Exactly. Yeah. I will just get this one. And oh god, it was not good at all. And
I remember when I first stumbled onto FA flavors, I did not want to buy them because they were ridiculously expensive back then. And you think they're expensive now? They were ridiculous. A 10 mil was about $15.
I was dangerous when I first started going out and buying things. Fresh called it unsupervised shopping, unsupervised mixing, because I would just see something and I'd be like,
candy store, right? Like, oh yeah, that looks good. That sounds good.
like I think TPA or Flavor West. I think it was one of those two. Probably Flavor West does something called the green something, but it's like the green machine by the Naked Drinks.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh, that sounds like it would be amazing. And like I'd get all these little flavors and I'd go to Fresh and you'd be like, no, Padawan, no.
Well, I remember I discovered FA and I discovered how little I needed to use. I was in awe about how their cherry wasn't as bad as maraschino cherry. So I'm still stuck on trying to make that cherry soda.
That's how I was with Flavora. Like when I discovered that you could get how much flavor you could get with just using such little percentage, I was just like floored. And I had completely shifted and went like the opposite. Like the pendulum swung and I went the opposite way and just did like really low mixes and really simple mixes. And what about you, Lumi? What was the worst mix that you've ever made?
It was also my first mix because at the time I was intimidated by using the scale. I didn't quite understand how it worked. So I was looking at like drops and percentages and I was like, I'm a crafty motherfucker. I got this. So I tried to eyeball my first mix and I was attempting to make like a blueberry pecan vanilla pudding.
Ooh.
And it smelled and tasted the way wet dog hair smells.
Oh no.
I got pretty lucky on my first mix. My first mix was LA watermelon.
Oh, you lucky. Yeah.
That's it. I did that at about 15%.
Damn.
With no sweetener. I was using Cardos back then, so it wasn't like a real mod.
Right.
It wasn't. It was cartomizers, and that at 18% by itself was amazing. Unless you let it steep, then it just turned into a plastic.
Nothing but alcohol.
I don't know what it was. I had never mixed it that high ever again, nor do I have a device where I think it would taste good.
Like that. Not now, probably no. But if fresh at 15% in a cartomizer, I bet it was pretty darn tasty, and you could get that.
And I was, back then you either had coil people or carto people, because to me a cartomizer had the best draw and the best flavor because it was condensed. You had that little metal tube in the middle and all your flavor was inside that tube and it went straight into your mouth versus a coil that was at the bottom and there was more air and you couldn't get it hot enough. So I don't know. I was a carto person. I was a cartomizer person for the longest time. And I went from cartomizer to a K-Fun.
Yeah. Awesome. What other questions you guys have for us? Anybody want to know anything else? or it doesn't have to be related to mixing either. If it, we're not going to guarantee that we're going to answer everything, but if you want to ask us something else,
I'll go ahead and tell you guys, I cut
Do it.
my hair so freaking short. I don't know that you guys will see me without a headband for a little while, because it is.
I mean, you look cute
short.
with the headband on.
I mean, it is short. My hair got chopped.
I didn't notice
even got
until you said
shaved back
something,
there.
and then I was
Oh,
like,
cute.
now I'm just like, what? What'd you do?
I shaved, even the back's even shaved. Here,
Ooh.
I'll show you guys.
Ugh. Ooh.
You have to sit.
It is.
Yeah, I think it's cute.
It is
Yeah.
short, but
That's super cute. Yeah.
it's too short.
Like
I feel like I got a granny haircut now.
I'm not
Oh,
allowed to have
gosh.
short hair anymore because if I do have short hair, which I did the little pixie cut. I went through the whole little pixie phase like everybody else did. And my hair is really, really thick and I have a crazy amount of hair. So when I cut it really, really short, I had so much of it that my scalp just could not breathe and it would just get dried and itchy and dandery and ugh.
I actually think that since I went this short, I might pixie cut it.
Yeah.
Might as well, because I don't like the shape of this haircut. So we'll see what I look like next
Yeah,
week.
Try it. Go for it. I mean, it's just hair to grow back.
We'll see.
All
Just
right,
get a
so
wig. Worst case scenario.
there you go. Franca Loglutis has a question. She says, she or he says, do I always have to mix renowned recipes with higher percentages of flavors if I only vape on pod systems like the Vupu Drag X 0.15 coils?
No, you don't have to bump your recipe with a, he said point what?
0.15, but
Yeah, it's a Vupu Drag X, has enough. You use that at about 40 watts, I'm pretty sure. And that's plenty. You can do a regular recipe. The only thing I'll say about it is anything that's creamy in any pod, it doesn't matter what ohms the coil is, because of the amount of airflow and the heat to that coil being so small, the amount of surface area being so small, your creams need to be a lot lower than your fruits if you're doing your fruits and cream. Other than that, most recipes should work just fine in those, because the coil is a 0.15 and it goes to, and you could go 40 watts on it. Should work. If it doesn't, just boost it a little bit. Another thing about the pods is if you add sweetener to a pod, a lot of times that's all you're going to taste, because it doesn't heat the sweetener strong enough for it to go away or blend into the mix. So you're going to get that sweetener first and a little bit of flavor. So be careful with sweetener on pods. Lower the sweetener a little bit.
Speaking of pod systems or AKA mouth to lung stuff, did you guys notice the new feature on all the flavors?
No.
It's got, how there's like a shake and vape box and like best after steep days. It now has an MTL box so that you can mark your recipes as mouth to lung. And then when you're looking for recipes, you can filter mouth to lung recipes.
Oh, that's really good. We needed
Pretty
that.
cool, right?
Yeah.
Tesla's awesome. He's on stuff. He's doing really good with that site, I think. Anyway, a little side note. I just wanted to.
Did you guys see on Chefs yesterday that Nick got married?
Yes.
Did you see that picture?
Yeah, with the towel on his head.
That was so great to me. I laughed my ass off. I was like, that is hell of a fucking damn way to call him out.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
He won the internet that day.
I
don't know who this Nick feller is. Nick who?
Nick Evans.
Oh.
I think that Emily is frozen.
Uh-oh.
No, she's just
roboting
bugging.
on us.
Oh no, it says my internet is unstable.
Well, it's first for everything. I've had plenty of those shows.
Am I okay now?
Yeah.
All right. Attitude's got another question. Who in the panel is a hippie at heart? What do you
Me.
mean by hippie? Like a nature lover or
All of
like-
it.
Me.
Yeah.
All of it.
Me.
Come on, Eddie. Check it out, man.
Uh,
I'm a
I think
hippie.
Emily's frozen again.
are you a hippie?
I live that chill life. Don't want to be bothered. Can't be doing social media crap. Just cruising through life.
Hey, I have my little stones. I do my little bit of witchcraft. I mean, I'm a
I don't know if that. I don't know if witchcraft is being a hippie, but the work.
I don't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't say I'm a hippie. I mean, I love nature and I consider myself kind of relatively green, but like I don't think would be a hippie.
I consider myself to be a modern day hippie. And it's not just about nature for me, but I do the moon, the stars. I mean, just the energies outside. I'm all about the energies, man. I'm a little crazy. I'm a little cuckoo. My kids think I'm nuts. You know what I mean? My kids are like, oh God, there she goes, burning incense and sage again throughout the house.
I have a question. Rin, what does your mug say? I thought I saw the word hoe on it.
Yeah, I think you'd actually like this mug. Andy's hose.
Oh, I wish it said Andy's nuts.
Oh,
Well,
geez.
it's a show. That's the name of the show.
Okay, there's another question here. It's really interesting. Who on the panel would go to a nude beach on vacation?
Me,
Not me, buddy. I'm not trying to scare nobody off the beach.
I would. I'd do it. Do it in
I
a
would
heartbeat.
go if I didn't have to participate.
So
But
Emily would be that creeper walking around the
yeah,
beach
right. Fully
looking.
clothed, just looking at everybody.
I can't tell you how many of my neighbors have seen me naked.
I would. No one wants to see this. No one wants to see this.
I'm actually pretty prude.
The mailman has seen me naked.
I have been in wet t-shirt competitions where I didn't win, and this is when I was younger, because I would not take off my shirt, and everybody else and 2 or 3 of the other girls would, so they would win because they would take off their shirt. I'm not doing that. Even though you could see right through the white t-shirt, I was not taking it off.
Nope.
I'm pretty
Not
prude.
happening.
I got my limits. I'm
Before I
fun, but
started
I got
streaming,
limits.
I was kind of just in the mood of like, I just got my own place. I live out in the middle of nowhere. I'm on my own. I have got nothing to do today. And I used to just strut around naked. It was actually one of the reasons why I didn't want to stream, because I didn't want to put clothes on. I didn't want to wear a bra. I didn't want to have to go hunting for bras.
I admire people like you that are comfortable to just do that.
I'm not necessarily comfortable. Like if I know people are watching me, I'd be a little bit more meh. But I'm more just weird that I'm okay with doing my own little thing. But it's once I start getting the attention, I'm kind of like, back up.
Yeah, I'm just I don't know. I guess I'm more prude than I look or I act, because people just assume because I'm so much fun, especially if I'm out drinking with friends and stuff. They're like, this girl is crazy. I'm like, no, you're wrong.
Chill, go with the flow, and you wouldn't think be prudy at all.
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, I never would have thought of that question. That was pretty good. Eddie asked that one too, by the way.
Eddie's on a roll, ain't he?
Darcy wants to know what mod What tank and what flavor are you vaping on today?
Okay, I'll start. So I got the Aegis. I think this
Yeah.
is one of the Aegis is the big one, the one that takes the 21700. And I'm using the Seuss rebuildable tank in it that Emily can't make work.
That's long been in the trash.
With strawberry coconut milk. And the reason I'm doing that is because I set down my squonk somewhere in this house, might be in between the couch chair, and I can't find it. And I need to sub ohm sometimes. I have been mostly MTL using my Inokin, like I'm a Inokin snob for MTLs. I mean, I hate to say that, but I just am. So I use the Inokin Chroma Z, the Inokin, shit, it escapes me. Golly, I just ordered 3 of them. But I'm also going senile. So they're just all their little pods that they have. Let me see where the heck that's at. Yeah, there it is. The Scepter is one of the ones that I use. And I also like their Endura Endura M18. So those are the ones I like to go on road trips with because they're easy. I don't have to, whoops, my whole computer almost fell. I don't have to refill anything. It lasts me a good 4 hours each. So I have all these little pods in my car, and then I don't smoke everybody out inside the car.
Nice. How about you, Rin? What do you what flavor, tank, and mod are you vaping right now?
I'm almost always using the Drop Dead, and today I'm using the Centauris. I usually use the Gruss, or I don't, it's the 218 or 26 650 or whatever, the big batteries.
21700.
Yeah, it's one of the few like dual one of those. I think Suck My Mod did it. I think that was his. It's like the Gruss GUR.
Yeah, the Grogu.
Yeah, that's what I usually use, but both batteries needed to be charged, so that's why I'm using this. This I just use to really just display because it's expensive, but I figure I might as well use it.
I think the reason that I've started using those pods is because they're auto draw, and with my carpal tunnel, I don't have to press on anything. I can just and go.
I just spilled e-liquid all over me because I overdripped trying to look at the bottom of the mod to get ready. And right there, it says the Guar 21. And I was just like, you titty motherfucker.
Well, I've got 4 that are within arm's reach right now. Should I talk about all of them? So the first 2, I've got the Vupu Drag with the Haley on it. And that is for single flavor testing right now. Chef Super Concentrate flavors, the fruity ones. And then I've got the Aegis Legend with an Entheon on it. And that's for single flavor testing, Chef Super Concentrate, like bakery and creams flavors right now. And then I've got, this is kind of my most used, and it's the G box with a Wasp Nano on it. And this is what I vape when I'm not testing anything, and I just want to vape like someone else's recipe. I don't want to like test anything. I just want to vape something good, you know, like, and not think about it. This is what I use. And right now I'm vaping, it's actually Shindo's One Shot Sweet Cornbread Pudding. And then this one here, this is my favorite mod. I love this to death. It's the SX Mini G Class. And the tank that's on it, shoot, what is this? Does anybody recognize this?
Put it
What?
closer.
I don't remember what this is.
Is there a logo somewhere on there?
I'm looking and I don't.
Oh, if you unhook it, it's on the bottom. You'll
Oh,
see the name of it at the bottom. Unless it's a
Quite the
clone.
buffet whenever you guys are ready for my buffet.
so basically, no, there's nothing there.
You got a
Anyway,
clone.
basically, when I'm like vaping this one and it's other people's recipes, and I've vaped it enough and I know I like it or whatever, or like I'm just ready to move on to a new recipe, I will then move that liquid over into this tank. And because this mod sits right here next to my bed, it's like my bed. I don't know, my night.
Yeah, pods are my bed mods, because then I don't make all that noise and nobody hears it, and I can.
Yeah.
If I wake up in the middle
Well, and I can sit
of the
there
night and I'm
read.
watching YouTube.
I can sit there and read or whatever and just vape and not have to worry about constantly re-dripping.
I sleep with my mod. I'm one of those.
I'm like, well, that's like the first thing I reach for when I open my eyes.
All right, are we ready for my buffet?
Yes.
All right, go for it.
It's a crazy buffet. What? Everybody, hold on. All right. It is always this single mod right here, the Gore 21, with a drop on top of it, with a DHT drip tip, the Unicorn Oops, and then inside it's always a 14 strand Celtic braid on a 5mm crochet rod. That's what I use as my coiling rod, with a quarter pad of Muji cotton. And you ready? You ready for my crazy e-liquid buffet? Bayless.
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 I just
That's okay. My buffet is usually my strawberry coconut milk, and that's it. Most on my Subo.
I don't have much of stuff laying around. You'd think, because I've gone through quite a bit of stuff, but no, I actually don't have a lot of extra stuff laying around to swap out to if I ever need to, because I end up just sending it away. The second I don't use it anymore, I just give it to somebody in need. Yep. I've so many people that have quit or trying to quit smoking cigarettes. I'll be like, if you're actually serious about this, let me help you. I have this mod. If you like it, if you want to look into it, I'll help you pick out.
No way I could do that. And I have 2 other vapors inside my house. So if I am missing my mod, I just go grab one of the spares that they have in their rooms, because they have spares. I have a lot of mods, but they're all the same one. Like I buy spares of the same mod.
There for a little bit, I was collecting drops to the point where I was trading braids in return for drops. And then I've met so many people in need of help to switch off of smoking cigarettes. I've actually given away all my extra drops. I only have this one drop and Addy Tooney's flame drop that he sent me. I've sent all the other ones off to people in need. I just can't keep all that clutter around.
I keep it because I'm so scared of the vape apocalypse. I have a fresh mod in a box still for each of us, and I have fresh a tank. What we use, our device on top, I have one of each of those brand new, and everybody has at least 2 of the same thing.
I have one collector mod that I just don't use nearly as much as I should, but I have the SQ with a skull on it. That's an 18650. That's like one of my prized possessions from Mr. Ian Thomas. Never getting rid of that thing.
Oh, that's cool.
But I don't use it though. But
I have a bunch
just so
of
pretty.
K-Funs and the K-Fun, the monsters. I have like 10 of the K-Fun monsters when those came out. I have 10 of those put away because who knows, at some point I might need them again. I hate building on them. I hate having to fill them, but they're there. I have a box of old retired tanks.
I don't think I'd ever find myself in a world where I'm completely fucked from vape stuff, but at the same time,
I don't know. I guess
I kind of hope, like, with everything that I put out there, if I were to be like in super need of something, somebody might extend the generosity and be like, hey.
yeah, just call me. I'll send you some.
But for the most part, if it's not being used and I can help somebody else.
And you know, I get that, but with me, when I help somebody off of cigarettes, I try to do it with something that's an MTL and that they don't have to build, and that they'll be able to get coils for easily. So I did get rid of a lot of my old tanks that would take coils that were MTLs so that they can use that. Now I have helped some friends that were already vaping, but we're still MTLing or using pods if their shit breaks. And anybody within a 10-mile radius of my house, if their stuff breaks, they will come here and say, what do you have that I can borrow till mine comes in the mail or till I have my next paycheck? And they'll come get it. But I go to their house and I'll go, did you get your shit yet? I need mine back.
Normally we'll just talk to somebody and I'll be like, well, like, depending on the situation, like there's been a couple of people that I was able to just sit there and talk to about the drop, like people that were trying to get off of coils, like the pre-built coils, because it's just too expensive and they go bad in like a couple of days. So I would have conversations with them before I'd send out the drop. But if it's like a situation with the mod, I gave out a couple of my the Lustros that I had. I've given those out. I bought them when they were on sale for like $19. And I'll tell them, I'll be like, if you're not okay with the RDA, I'll help you find a tank to put on here. But here's a majority of the chunk that's most intimidating. I was like, you just need to buy a charger, need to buy batteries and your tank, and I'll send you the mod. It takes away part of the intimidation.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I've done that. I feel like I've gotten burnt so much. 2 weeks later, I see them with cigarettes and I'm like, I like my shit back, please.
I've seen that a couple of times. It made me quite sad because I've gotten rid of a couple of drops I didn't want to get rid of. And the person doesn't even use them. He still buys the pre-built coils. And I was just like, those drops are prized possessions of mine, jerk.
I asked for my stuff back. I literally asked for it back. I said, if you're not using that, I know somebody else who might need to quit vaping or smoking. I'll take it back. And then if you ever need one, just give me a call. I'll have something for you. I mean, I try to be nice about it, but really inside, I'm really upset that they went back to smoking and I gave them something that could have helped somebody else that might have really quit.
And I'll stew on it and I'll remember it, but for the most part, I'm still just, how can I help?
I'll tell you what I've done for people who wanted to quit smoking. Nowadays, there's a lot of those disposable vapes available for $5.99, $6.99. I bought 20 of those fuckers last year for Christmas. And anybody that tells me that they want to quit smoking, I'll give them a disposable. I said, let me know at the end of the week. If you're still using this, I've got one more for you. And if that's working for you, I've got something I can give you. But now no longer do I give them a real kit. They get a disposable to begin with.
Great idea. That's great. Because disposable, for one thing, they're simple. They're a great entryway because it's like no fuss. And
it cost me $5 because I found it on sale. I mean, I would have blown $5 on something else. So I don't feel like I'm giving them something I would use because I'm not going to use a disposable. I don't know what kind of coil it has, and I have metal allergies. Mm-hmm. So I can buy 20 of those for $100 and help 20 people, or at least 10.
Yeah, or you can buy one setup basically for that, and and it'd be too complicated and they'd not like it because it's like too much vape right away or whatever,
Right.
Because a lot of times, they don't want to blow clouds. They don't care. They just want to get off cigarettes. They just want nicotine in a healthier way.
Yeah, and I keep it simple. I usually do all strawberries and then, or half strawberry menthol. And I keep it that simple because they're either going to want menthol or a fruit. That's all they really have in those things. So
Yeah.
usually, especially if they're on sale. So that keeps it simple. Also, when my son travels, I throw him one of the disposable. I still have like 10 of them. I think I caught a sale for like $2.99 a piece at one point.
I found a Lumi question in the chat.
Oh, snap.
Why are Lumi percentages the best by Ian Thomas?
Oh, God.
All right.
Ian, don't discourage or don't encourage
All right.
her.
They've been this way pretty much since the start. So come on now.
Yeah, so why do you do that?
When I first started, I'd seen so many people so paranoid about their recipes and not wanting to share them that I would always be like, all right. And I was doing like a lot of stuff by looking at like drops and stuff. And I was like, well, maybe this extra drop is what will make the difference. So to come up with my weird percentages, I would just look at like average usage, and then I would read everybody's notes on ELR, and then I would pick out a percentage in the realm that I'd want, and then I would just smidge it up to a weird number that felt right in my mind palace.
In your mind palace.
All right. Whatever, man. Whatever floats your boat. You do you, boo.
I was like, nobody is ever going to be able to copy my recipes because they're not going to get them.
Yeah, I
They're
didn't care
not
about
gonna
that.
do that
I'm
extra
just a
drop.
giver. You know what I mean? Just take it. Just go with it. Just
Yeah, I
roll
never
with it.
actually hid them, but it was just me back when I was still thinking about the possibility of keeping my recipes to myself. But we all know that never actually happened.
That never actually happened.
But it was just, I wanted to do something that I was like, oh, they're not going to be able to guess this.
Yeah, I get that. That's how I was with my additives.
All right, I think that's all the questions we have time for today. This was a good little chit chat, girls.
It was. Thank you.
I want to thank our special friends that we haven't thanked in a while, Bull City. Our friends over at Bull City and Favora, thank you so much. Wayne, thank you so much for putting us on your podcast network every time. We really appreciate it. It helps more people find us and enjoy our listening. Enjoy.
And our
their
views have
listening.
gone down a bit, so share our show.
Yeah, share it. Sure. If you like what we do and you want to support us in a fun, tasty way, there's a couple places you can do that. Head on over to DIYFlavorChaser.com. We've got one-shots there. Those same one-shots, though, are also available at chefs.flavors.uk. If you happen to be shopping there and getting those, selective flavors that aren't available in the States, check us out. Pick us up as a one-shot. We would really appreciate it. Or if you're shopping at Flavor Jungle, Ren and I still have one-shots there too. We're still hanging on. We still got some one-shots there. So show us some love. We would greatly appreciate it. If not, you know what? We love you anyway. We'll see you next week for our peer review episode where we bring on, excuse me, we bring on a couple of the boys.
A male palate. Males can come and taste our stuff and tell us what they think of it.
What
but
they
of
think
course,
of it.
they love our stuff.
All right, guys. We love you all. We'll see you next week. Have a good rest of your weekend.